select your character.
Yeah, it simply is. And you best believe that I know what I'm talking about. Let's get into it.
Let's get scratching.
Now look guys, before I move any further with this video, I should stress out the fact that I mean no disrespect whatsoever to any other gaming console out there. They're all fantastic, whether it be the PS2, GameCube, original Xbox 360, Sega Saturn, PS1, PS3, I don't know, Xbox One, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, whatever it might be, okay? All gaming consoles are great, and I personally believe that gaming is the pinnacle of human entertainment, of art, right? In general, just of fun. It's all good stuff. But I personally believe that the Sega Dreamcast is the best console of all time. You've read the title, right? So that being said, let's move on to the talking points. I think this would be a good time to do that. Here we go. There she is, ladies and gentlemen. The beautiful Sega Dreamcast. Have you guys ever seen a console more gorgeous than this? Well, there's only one answer to that question. No, you haven't. There is truly nothing else designed quite like the Sega Dreamcast. Even at first glance, you can immediately tell that this is not just a simply squared-shaped design. It has curved dots and a very unique lid. The only other consoles that I can think of that come close to looking as good as the Dreamcast or as a close second are maybe the original PlayStation, the Xbox 360, and of course, the crisp, white dazzling Japanese Sega Saturn. But I've already covered two of these consoles before and talked about how great they look. You guys don't need to hear that again. And as for the 360, that's another story for another time. Instead, we are here to praise how much of a perfect design the Dreamcast has. Believe it or not, the Dreamcast was designed by the same console design artist who created the shells for the Master System and Genesis, Hideaki Sato. Sato-san had some help with past Sega systems though, with Mr. Masami Ishikawa, who was probably best known for designing the Genesis. However, this time around, it seems as though Mr. Hideaki Sato came up with this unique, one-of-a-kind design all by himself. Now, I don't know about you ladies and gentlemen, but I find that to be incredibly impressive and frankly kind of crazy. It's almost as if the design of the system came to Sato-san in a dream, huh? Yeah. Hey, see what I did there? Yeah, you know, and then it's called the Dreamcast, so. But anyways, alright, all jokes aside, let's move on to the next topic of the video, the Dreamcast controller. This is it, everyone. The Dreamcast controller. It may not look like the greatest video game controller that you have ever seen, but it is most certainly unique. And I'm not the first to admit that it is a quote-unquote perfect controller, but it most certainly is for the system and games that's made for. It feels good to hold, the memory cards go in the top 2 slots, and best of all, the analog stick never gets drift. Crazy, I know. It's because Sega used very tiny pieces of metal inside where the stick is at. Overall, I personally love the look and feel of the Dreamcast controller. It has a very floaty, out-of-consciousness feel to it, and it complements the console beautifully, like any good game controller should do. Plus, take a closer look at the face buttons here. Yup, that's right. This is where Microsoft got the idea for the Xbox controller's face buttons. How? We'll get into that a little later. For now, it's time to move on to the Dreamcast's other key element, its memory card. Now, what's a good console and controller without its memory card? Unless if the system doesn't utilize one. This is the Dreamcast's memory card, the VMU. VMU stands for Visual Memory Unit. And as you can tell right away, this little doohickey is more than just a memory card. You can also play little mini type Dreamcast games on it. Yeah, some Dreamcast games do utilize this wonderful little feature, but not all of them do. I would love to show you guys myself personally, but that's also one of the VMU's greatest weaknesses, the lifespan of its battery. It uses a lithium coin 2032 watch battery, and they do not last for very long, maybe a month at most. And for me, it's been like a week or two, I think. However, even after the battery dies, all of your save data stays intact, whether it be from an actual full-release Dreamcast game or one of the mini-games that you can play on. How cool is that? In other words, you don't even have to worry about the VMU battery. Your save data will be A-OK. Now, a really great and neat thing about the VMU is the visual part in its name. You can see a little graphic on the memory card screen playing whenever you boot up a game. Some Dreamcast games do utilize this function better than others. Personally, I do feel like it's one of the best features about the Dreamcast. Like, it's so neat seeing the little screen and characters showing up on it whenever you're playing a game, or, you know, whatever's going on with the game you're playing. Oh yeah, they also come in different colors. So do the controllers. Pretty neat, huh? Now, as much as I love the VMU, it unfortunately does not come with the most amount of memory for a memory card. Yes, even perfection has its weaknesses. I know, what a shame. It only has 200 blocks to start with, which is apparently 1/8 of a PlayStation 2's memory card. That really blows. Thankfully, the white, black, and blue VMUs are mostly on the cheap end. Sega also made a 4-in-1 memory card, so you could also grab one of those if need be. Last I checked, they run for about $40 to $50, which isn't terrible. The 4X VMU has 4 slots in total, which is where the name comes from, each one containing 200 blocks. So in total, it comes with 800 blocks, which is pretty neat for one memory card. So far we have covered the look of the system, the controller, and the VMU. But is that really all the console has to offer? Of course not! After all, what's a great video game console without peripherals? Oh yeah. As you can see here, the Dreamcast had a lot of awesome peripherals dedicated to it. It had a sweet arcade stick that was best used with fighting games, a fishing rod that was mainly used for Sega bass fishing, but other Dreamcast games use it as well, a microphone, so you could talk to everyone's favorite hideous virtual pet, the Seaman. Yup, that's really the name of the game. The Dreamcast also has a mouse and a keyboard, which you can use to play Quake 3 Arena, and maybe a few other titles too. There's also a Dreamcast camera called the Dream Eye, but I don't currently own one. Still though, pretty neat. I might get around to picking one up some way, it depends on the software. And one last item that I wanted to mention before moving on may not count as a quote-unquote peripheral to everyone, and that of course is, BAM! This guy, the Dreamcast VGA cable. That's the power of VGA. I'm sorry, you don't know what a VGA cable is and why it was such a big deal to use in the world of consoles in 1999? Well, let me explain. VGA cables, which stands for Video Graphic Array, were mostly used for computers' outputs in the 90s. They displayed a nice crisp 480p image. It isn't technically quote-unquote HD or high definition, I suppose. At the time it was, though. It most certainly looks a heck of a lot better than composite, I'll tell you that much. You'll see later on in the video what I'm talking about. Look at that, look, see, look. That's how you know. That's how you know this cable is special, because it's got that. How many video game consoles has this, huh? The other ones, I think the other ones is the 360, but VGA, it's awesome, it really is. And speaking of VGA and PCs, I think now would finally be a good time to get into why the Xbox controller copied, in quotation marks, the Dreamcast controller. Before I forget to mention it later, Microsoft helped Sega work on the Dreamcast. They provided an optimized version of Windows CE for the system, which meant it would be easy for developers to port or put games on the console. That's very awesome for Microsoft to do. So yes, Microsoft's experiences on helping Sega with the Dreamcast led them into developing the original Xbox. Now that, in my opinion, is pretty dang awesome. Man, Sega was doing a lot for the Dreamcast at the time. There's arcade sticks, fishing rods, and there's keyboards, microphones, a mouse for the Dreamcast, and VGA cables, and like I said, they were mostly used for computers. What's with all of this stuff? Why would Sega feel the need to make a microphone, keyboard, and mouse for the console? And why would Microsoft, who are best known for Windows at the time, help work on the system? Unless...
You better watch that, coming at you. You better watch that, coming at you. You better watch that, coming at you. The funky rhythm coming at you. You better watch that, coming at you. You better watch that, coming at you. You better watch that, coming at you. Coming at you. You better watch that, coming at you. You better watch that, coming at you. You better watch that. You better watch that. You better watch that, coming at you. You better watch that, coming at you. You better watch that. Watch that, watch that, watch that. The funky rhythm coming at ya. You better watch that, coming at ya. You better watch that.
Did I just blow your mind? For those of you who don't know, the Sega Dreamcast is the first video game console ever to truly utilize online network connectivity. You can surf the web, play online with other people, and some games even had DLC. Yes, the Sega Dreamcast is the first video game console to utilize all of this, even downloadable content. And get this, it was free. You didn't have to pay for anything for download content at the time. And if all that is still not mind-blowing enough for you, even the Sega Saturn, a whole other console before the Dreamcast that released as early as 1996, had online play. You could play online with other people on the Sega Saturn. Sweet mama. That's crazy. You know, back in the day, when I was in middle school, I always thought that the Xbox 360 was the first video game console to ever utilize online play. You know, what that be of the Xbox Live, downloading content, streaming, DVD play, all that kind of stuff. That was all first for me with the Xbox 360. But no, apparently a whole generation before that did it all first. You know, this is me back in 2008, so I honestly had no idea what the PS2, original Xbox, and even the GameCube could do at the time. And apparently, it all started with this little guy. Okay folks, I think now is finally a great time to talk about the Dreamcast's bread and butter, the main number one focused reason why I love the system so much. The games!
You have seen the games, right? Wrong answer, man. Show 'em!
The Sega Dreamcast is 110% home to some of the greatest video games ever made, and you cannot tell me different. You cannot tell me no different. There's no denying it. We've got Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, Choo Choo Rocket, Crazy Taxi 1 and 2, Alien Front Online, Toy Commander, Quake 3 Arena, Trick Style, The House of the Dead 2, and The Tubbing of the Dead. God, what a classic. Seaman, yes, Seaman, which I mentioned earlier, the best virtual pet simulator ever created probably. Blue Stinger, Bangai-O, Puyo Puyo Fever, Ika freaking Gura, which is a masterpiece of a game. Rez! Oh my god, I love Rez so much. This game is freaking sweet, man. Just look at it. Look at this game. It's freaking sweet. Jet Set Radio, which is also freaking sweet. Outrigger, Virtual On Cyber Troopers, Space Channel 5, 1 and 2, Cool Tune. I think you guys get the picture. Oh, wait, I'm not done. I forgot about the amazing fighting games on the Dreamcast. I mean, come on, how could I not mention Marvel vs. Capcom, both 1 and 2, Power Stone 1 and 2, Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, Cane Spike, Project Justice, Dynamite Cop, which is a beat 'em up but still a great, fun experience. The list goes on and on. Listen, folks, if you guys have never played a Dreamcast before, y'all are doing yourselves a misservice, a huge misjustice. Please, play at least one, however you can. They are all fun encapsulated, guaranteed.
The game is fun. If it's not fun, why bother?
I couldn't have said better myself, Reggie. Okay, those are all amazing gaming experiences, yes, and they're all mostly arcade designed. Well, that's because at least half of the Dreamcast library is arcade ports, which is far from a bad thing because arcade games are super duper fun if you ask me or Reggie Fils-Aimé there. A part of the reason why that is because the Dreamcast architecture is very similar to their arcade model board at the time, which was known as Naomi. They also had a few Model 3 games ported to the system as well, the arcade board before Naomi. And get this, when the Sega Dreamcast launched in North America on the iconic 9/9/1999 date, it did so with 19 different titles. Yup, 19 different games, guys. And here they all are, right here on screen. So let me ask all of you this, dear viewers. When was the last time a video game console launched with so many quality titles on the same date as release? Well, I'll tell you when. The last time something like this happened was on September 9th, 1999 in North America. And it's the only time something like this will ever have happened. Alright, this is an unscripted moment that I wanted to talk about in segment 2 of the video, but I couldn't really find a good place, so I'm going to put it here. This is a little software called Dream Explorer, or better known as VMU tool, and this will help you unlock 40 extra blocks on your VMU. Yes, this will help you unlock 40 extra blocks that are locked on your VMU. I know, it's weird. So really, they all have 240 blocks on them. A little bit more space for your games. All you need to do is go online, download the software, and burn it onto a disk, a CD-ROM disk. So with that being said, that's not something I have talked about yet. The Dreamcast can play burnable CD-ROM discs with no extra anything. If your Dreamcast has either a 1 or a 0 underneath the console, right by the region area, you should be good to go. And I'll show you what I'm talking about right here. I should be able to. But yeah, right here. This is version 0.65, I think, VMU tool. It's kind of old. I've had this disc for years, and it's been really helpful. It has like a lot of DLC on it and stuff. It's pretty good, but I'm pretty sure it's been updated since then. So not only does this tool have what's it called? The ability to unlock blocks on your console or on your VMU, it has the ability to do a lot more than that. So it's definitely worth looking into. Anyways, this may not get everyone to understand how great the Dreamcast truly is yet. And I can already hear the PS2 allegiants either laughing, complaining, or moaning in the comments. Where are the RPGs? Where are the JRPGs? The PS2 has a lot more games and RPGs, blah 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 blah. Look, and to all of that, I have 3 things to say. 1, it's quality over quantity, my friend. More does not always mean better, that's for sure. 2, I'm sorry, but the launch of the PS2 is laughably bad in comparison. I don't even think that Metal Gear Solid 2 launched with the console. And if it did, that's great and everything. I mean, it's a fantastic game, don't get me wrong, but that'll be all there really is to write home about. Practically every game that launched on the Dreamcast is an instant genre-defining title. That is a humongous deal. And as for 3, you want RPGs? We got RPGs. My god, where do I begin? We've got Time Stalkers, Silver, D2, Skies of Arcadia, Evolution 1 and 2, Elemental Game Gear or Egg, Record of Lotus War, Grandia 2, freaking Shenmue. I've already made 2 dedicated film-length videos, game reviews, talking about what makes Shenmue so dang amazing and important. It's not just an RPG, it's so much more than that. It's most definitely a console-defining game. Both of them are. And how could I possibly not mention Phantasy Star Online? My god, you want to talk about bangers? This game is a freaking banger. So, as I have shown and mentioned earlier, the Dreamcast was capable of online connectivity and had a service at the time called SegaNet. If you were subscribed to this service, then you could play Phantasy Star Online. The game does also have an offline mode, which isn't terrible or anything, but it's not as magical as the online experience is. You could do most of these things on a PC already, but it's not as, magical as doing this on a little white box made of dreams. Another great thing about the Dreamcast is that every genre in gaming is represented on the system. Not one genre is missing from here. Whether it be racing, fighting, action platform, horror, RPG, arcade, fishing, sports, you name it, the Dreamcast has got it. And I've been mostly covering what the North American region of the Dreamcast has to offer. If you take the time to research, look, and discover what both Europe and Japan has to offer as well, I can guarantee you that you will most certainly find a lot more high quality games for the system. Some we never got in the States, but some we most certainly did, regardless of the genre. Just gonna flex a bit more here before moving on to the next topic, if you don't mind. It's a real shame that the Dreamcast didn't take off the way that it should have. I would have actually known what the console was as a kid. My parents probably would have gotten this one for Christmas. Sega probably would have made an updated controller. Maybe we would have gotten DVD support. The world will never know. We definitely would have gotten more games. We may have actually gotten a Sonic Adventure 3 and more Shenmue titles. Oh well, it is what it is. It really is heartbreaking to know what happened and to accept that it had a short lifespan. It's sad, it really is. But, again, it is what it is. Man, it's just too bad that the Dreamcast doesn't have any proper support anymore. No online functionality, no new games, none of that. Well, at least the old games are great still, so at least it's got that going for it. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, it does. Come on now, did you guys really think that I was surfing on the web with the Dreamcast in the past, back in good old 1999? Nope. You can access online connectivity on the Dreamcast today. You've got to get one of these things though. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the Dream Pi. It's a Raspberry Pi that gives you online functionality on your very own Sega Dreamcast. Don't ask me how the device itself works internally, I'm not entirely sure, but at the end of the day, it does work. And there are plenty of really good tutorial videos online already that explains how to set it all up. There's also a live service that comes with it called Dreamcast Now. It's really simple to sign up for, and you can do it right here on this website at dreamcastlive.com. I'll put a link in the description below. In fact, I'm going to put several links in the description below, so make sure you check it out. Again, there are tutorial videos on how to do this already right here on YouTube. Dreamcast Now also has a list of Dreamcast games that are currently online. They also show you which players are online and what games they're currently playing. Hey look, there's me! Not only that, but you can download DLC from the website straight to the Dreamcast itself. Now that's just incredible. One thing I want to mention before I move on is that not only can you go online with the Dreamcast, but way back in 1999, early 2000s, Sega was considering looking into online streaming for media. That's right, so the PS2 has the DVD player, right? You can watch movies on it. Well, Sega thought about streaming way before streaming was even a thing now. They were looking into how to utilize it. I once saw this mentioned in a YouTube video or read it online in an article, but at the moment I can't seem to find any sources. But right now, all I need to tell you is trust me, I did find it online. One thing that for sure you can find online is that Sega was going to do a DVD add-on for the Dreamcast. And who knows, if it survived past 2001 here in North America, we may have had a Dreamcast that had built-in DVD playback down the line. Oh well, what could have been? Okay, this is all awesome and great stuff, right folks? But what if you don't own a Sega Dreamcast? No Dreamcast? No problem. You can play Sega Dreamcast games on practically any device nowadays, modern Xboxes, PCs, or right here on your own mobile phone.
Really?
Yes, really. And it gets even better. If you want to start with something simple, streamlined, and easy, I highly recommend Flycast. You just import the game files, and you're practically good to go with online functionality, up to 8 billion VMUs, and yeah, like I said, you're good to go. It's so simple and easy to understand, even a 5-year-old could do it. Well, at least mine can. So, is that everything that I have to show? Yeah, same old retro console story, right? It's done over with nowadays, but obviously you can play on it via emulation. A lot of consoles can do that. And yeah, sure, it's great that you can play online again with other people, and that must be all there really is, right? Ha! I say, no! That's not even everything yet. Not only does the Sega Dreamcast still play online today, and it's easy to set up and use on a PC or phone, the Dreamcast also still has games being published for it, nowadays. And I actually own about 3 of them right here. They're mostly indie titles, but it's still pretty impressive that this exists. But how? And why? Well, it's actually incredibly easy to put games for the Dreamcast in CD-ROM discs, and to publish games for them too. Remember earlier in the video I mentioned that Microsoft had a hand in developing the Dreamcast? That was to help publishers put games on the Dreamcast a lot easier. And not only that, I also mentioned that you can burn discs for the Dreamcast earlier as well. Yes, you can. It's super simple to do it. However, for the most part, Sega used a proprietary disc format for their games called GD-ROMs, which basically stands for Gigabyte Discs. Unfortunately, you cannot publish Dreamcast games on GD-ROMs anymore today because all the machines were destroyed sometime before 2010. Really sad and unfortunate, I know, but it's true. On a plus side, however, it is now incredibly easy to burn Dreamcast software onto CD-ROM discs. However, most CDI Dreamcast files are over 700 memory bytes big, and most blank CD-ROMs are only 700 memory bytes. You can find some that are 800 to 900 memory bytes or so, which is almost a full gigabyte. Most Dreamcast CDI files are just a bit over 700 megabytes, so getting a stack of blank 800 megabyte CD-ROM discs should do the trick for you, if you're interested in burning Dreamcast games onto them. And please, do not use DVDs, as the Dreamcast has no DVD support whatsoever and could possibly even wipe out your Dreamcast laser. Which brings me to my next topic. Oh boy, this is going to be a tough one for me to try to cover. Trying to go over everything about how and why the Dreamcast quote-unquote failed, at least in the US. You see, the Sega Saturn had some pretty beefy parts to it, including its optical drive disc laser. Since it cost Sega a lot to manufacture them, and since the Saturn didn't have a very successful lifespan in other regions outside of Japan, Sega had to cut some costs when it came to finally making the Dreamcast. In fact, believe it or not, Sega almost did not even make the Dreamcast to begin with.
Huh?
Yup, that's right. Not only did Sega have to end up shipping the console with a weaker laser than the Saturn, but they were honestly seriously considering becoming a software publishing only company as early as at least 1997. They instead would have put a special chip to run Dreamcast games or Model 3 arcade-like titles, or Naomi, inside various machines. It could have been CD players, DVD players, or even other gaming consoles. In fact, former president of Sega of Japan, Isao Okawa, begged Microsoft for the original Xbox to have cross-compatibility with the Dreamcast. Okawa-san also put his own personal savings into continuing for funding for Dreamcast over in Japan. Isao Okawa passed away due to heart failure in March of 2001, right around when the Dreamcast was announced to cease production in the States. However, since Okawa-san put his own personal money towards the console, it continued on until 2007 over in Japan. You know, ladies and gentlemen, after everything that we covered in this video, and currently now, after learning that Sega was in serious debt at the console's inception, even during its early stages, during, it being just a concept, which isn't the system's fault at all. As early as 1997, they were thinking about just making a chip, just a hardware chip, to go into, the devices, like DVD players, that were coming out soon, or already out during the time, really early ones, possibly in VCD players, or CD players in general that can play music, or even other game consoles, like the PlayStation 2, or the Xbox, or the GameCube, might have had this said chip in it. I don't know. Honestly, just looking into all that and knowing all that stuff, it's gonna suck to say this. It really does, and it hurts a little bit too. It kind of makes me happy that we don't have a Dreamcast 2. Sorry. Okay, whoa, guys, whoa, alright, look, relax. I'm sorry, okay? To each their own, ladies and gentlemen. Chill out. It's just my opinion. But again, you have to remember, it's just a part of me feels this way. Let me explain what I mean. Ladies and gentlemen, please do not get me wrong here. A strong part of me still wants Sega to make another console. I would welcome it with open arms. It would even consider selling off my Xbox One and Xbox Series X to help possibly afford one, and I'm not joking about that. However, Sega does not make their own parts when it comes to hardware. They have to outsource to other companies, and not only that, it could be another huge risk for them in terms of financial success. And well, right now, quite frankly, I am currently pretty happy for the Sega of today. Not only are they currently making some pretty smart and even somewhat wonderful business decisions, they're also putting out some pretty great recent quality titles. The Yakuza series has always been great, Bayonetta is going strong, Sonic Frontiers is a strong step in the right direction for a 3D Sonic game design, and let's not forget that they now own Persona and Shin Megami Tensei. Y'all know that Sega bought Atlas back in 2015 or so, right? And let's not all forget that mind-blowing Sega Games Remakes trailer they showed just last year. The point is that the Sega as of now will be okay. They're kicking ass a bit, and letting other publishers make sequels or remakes of their past titles because of pure passion is honestly pretty sweet. Seeing games like Panzer Dragoon Remake, Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, or Shenmue 3 always warms my heart and fills me with pride and joy. Let's try not to be sad that the Dreamcast from Sega at least is over. Let's be glad that it happened. And don't just take it from me, folks. Listen to what other passionate Dreamcast enjoyers had to say as well.
They have to go to other people and bargain for pricing,
Right.
so you'll never undercut them. So it's just that you're fighting basically a losing battle, and really I think that's what did it for them. Like they never gained that game that was Mario 64 or Final Fantasy 7 levels of success.
Right, and I think though, Sega could have continued to chug along, probably release another console after the Dreamcast, but that would really have required everyone to be all in, all hands on deck, put the blinders on, ignore the financial results, ignore what people are telling us. And you've seen that in the past with the add-ons. They'll do things that on paper seem stupid, but they'll do it anyway because they just want to keep forging on ahead. keeping the Dreamcast alive, or keeping, you know, the Saturn alive, keeping the Dreamcast alive. But I think at this point, this was when the grown-ups had to step in and say it's done. Just had to put their hand on the shoulder of the dreamers there and be like, this is it. No more. You know.
Yeah.
It's sad, it's unfortunate, and I think us as fans, we live in this kind of state where we think above and beyond what is actually the reality of the things. And I think this is where you and me as kind of voices of fandom get in trouble sometimes, because, you know, you'll look back at our videos and we'll be really excited and ecstatic about things, but in the end we typically actually see eye to eye with Sega's decisions, because we're like, yeah, that wouldn't have been smart to make a Dreamcast too.
And I really love the Dreamcast. I think it's a phenomenal console. It's highly underrated. If you've never played it, you've got to do it. It is, I think, and I'll probably get wrapped in the mouth for this, but I think it was the last true gamers console. And what I mean by that is, it was a console that was developed for you. For you, the one watching this video. It was made for you. It was not made for your cousin who's casual and only likes Madden and Call of Duty. It was not made for your aunt who likes Wii bowling. You know, it wasn't made for that kind of market. It was made specifically and targeted exactly towards you, a person who is passionate about games, a person who cares about games, wants good gameplay and good stories, and really gets involved in those type of, what most of the world would consider a very niche kind of hobby. Unfortunately, that's probably what killed it, is because it couldn't appeal to enough people. But that being said, in the time that it was around, it left us with some phenomenal games, and you still get new ones. So if you ever get the chance, pick up a Dreamcast.
This is just a little one for us to look back in the past at some, you know, at launch, when this thing launched, you know, you saw the Japanese launch of it, and then we saw the North American launch of it, and it was good. And I think there's so many fans of the Dreamcast out there. You know, obviously it was such a great system, and it's too bad it died kind of the way it did. It's kind of sad, but we have some great memories of it.
So Sega's farewell to the hardware race was a bittersweet one. It was sad to see them go, but what a way to go with such a great system and such amazing games. I mean, Soul Calibur, Blue Stinger, Power Stone, Seaman.
Seaman, definitely. Skies of Arcadia, Shenmue. So many incredible games in the system and so many wonderful memories.
So with all that being said, everyone, I hope you checked out the Sega Dreamcast if you haven't already. And remember, it's always thinking. Hey everybody, this ending part is going to be a little scripted and not scripted. I just want to say thank you guys so much for making it to the end of this video and watching the entire thing. I just want to give a special thanks to my beautiful, wonderful fiance, Janelle, for helping me out with the camera work and with some of the setting and whatnot. She really helped me out in this video. I honestly do appreciate that. I hope that everybody watching this liked it. If not, it's okay, I understand, but I hope I still kept all of you entertained. I hope I made you laugh a bit, and if I have pissed you off, then I apologize, or anything, any negative emotions. In general, I'm really sorry. In reality, there's honestly no best console of all time, obviously. Every console is great, fantastic, and unique on their own, but in my heart, I do gotta give the honor to the Dreamcast. It's most definitely my favorite system ever. I'm sorry that I didn't cover quite everything that was canceled for the Dreamcast, but believe you me, if I did do that, this video may have been 2 times longer than it already is. I don't know. Maybe one day I can cover that stuff, but this series isn't really about like canceled projects. It's about like what's here and now. Even if I did cover the streaming and DVD playback, but that's stuff that people already kind of know about, so I thought maybe, but it doesn't matter. This video might be my best work yet. I feel like it is. I'm very proud with how it turned out, but I don't really entirely know yet, but like I said, it really feels like it. If you did end up liking it, please don't forget, please comment, rate, and subscribe. Honestly, every bit of that does help. It does. This isn't just for me. It really isn't. Please share it around. I honestly, please, like, I'm begging you guys. Like, I would really appreciate that too. Spread this video around everywhere, please. This doesn't just, like I said, it would also positively affect my family. Like, I have 2 little girls to think about, So I'm really hoping that this video is, you know, the one that does it. If not, then I get it, but let me know if you guys want to see more, because I would love to make more. I didn't give this video just my A game. I gave it my S rank game. Like, I really went above and beyond here. So I hope that it really succeeds on YouTube. Alright guys, y'all have a great night, and take care. Thanks again for watching. Until next time, I hope there is one. Bye-bye for now.